Gervonta Davis recently discussed his relationship with Floyd Mayweather, making it apparent that he has moved on with his career despite Mayweather's previous influence. Although Mayweather did have a part in Davis's career at one point, Davis implied that Floyd had already accomplished his goals in boxing, and in terms of his involvement with him, Floyd, he was always saying, "I get to focus on me. He already did what he had to do." Despite any setbacks or difficulties that may have resulted from his relationship with Mayweather, Davis has remained focused on his own success. He acknowledged that if he had achieved as much as Mayweather did in the sport, he might feel the same way about stepping back, implying that whatever influence Mayweather had, whether positive or negative, was already in the past.
So how's your relationship with Floyd now? Is he still a part of your camp and crew or something, or not?
Floyd outdoing him. He always been like that. You know what I mean? So I gotta focus on what I'm focused on. He already did what he had to do, bro.
For sure.
I ain't gonna lie. Me, if I did what I like what he did in the sport, I ain't gonna lie, I'd be the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't fault him for like stand to himself and things like that. You know what I mean? But it's also a part of me type thing, like come back and help too. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's much love to the whole Mayweather promotion. You know what I mean? Ain't no bad blood type shit.
Floyd Mayweather said in an interview that although he is officially still retired, he is not done entertaining people or earning money. He clarified that he still participates in exhibition fights to stay active and continue earning money even if he is no longer a professional boxer. Mayweather views these bouts as a chance to continue interacting with fans and earning enormous sums of money. He frequently likens himself to business. Moguls like Warren Buffett and Jeff Bezos stress that he will continue to make wise financial decisions even after he has retired from competition. This mentality is probably the reason Mayweather called out Tank Davis for a possible fight. He is aware that a bout between his former protege and Floyd would bring in a significant amount of attention and money. But Davis has stated that he is not interested in fighting Floyd because he prefers to concentrate on his own career rather than take on his former mentor in a non-competitive exhibition.
The fight you've got coming up, Floyd, who do you think has taken the biggest risk taking that fight? Has it been you, Floyd Mayweather, or has it been Logan Paul, and why?
Well, it's always me, because at the end of the day, I'm always in a no-win situation. If I go out, I talked about this numerous times. If I knock him out in the first round, they're going to say it was a waste of our money. If I carry him, let him go a few rounds, then they're going to say, oh, Floyd Mayweather couldn't knock this guy out. But people got to realize I'm still retired, officially retired. But I didn't retire from entertaining people, and I didn't retire from making money.
In his explanation of Floyd's lack of skill at this stage of his career, Davis claims that although Mayweather was once the most technical and defensive boxer, his time has come to an end, and he is no longer capable of competing with someone like Tank, who is in his prime. The grown-up highlights that Tank, in contrast to Floyd, who concentrated primarily on defense and counterpunching, Davis is a complete fighter who combines skill, power, and strategic thinking in the ring. He fights with precision, making quick adjustments mid-fight, and has the ability to knock out his opponents at any time. Tank is more aggressive and applies constant pressure while maintaining his own defensive awareness. He goes on to explain that Mayweather would struggle to match Tank's speed, power, and ring IQ at this point because, although Floyd still has experience, he is no longer the same fighter who dominated boxing for years. For this reason, if the fight were to take place, it would be for entertainment purposes only, rather than as a competitive match. Tank Davis is just the best fighter available right now.
My thing it wasn't that he's a big guy who could go to 140. It was that he's so talented and punched so hard that those skill sets can carry up with them in weight. That's what the great ones do. They have that ability. That's why I mentioned Floyd Mayweather wasn't 154, but his skill set was so good. The difference between Tank and Floyd is that Tank got the type of power. When you got power that carry up like Pacquiao, you can move up many weight divisions, not just, the two that he primarily fought in. We saw him dribbling Mario Barrios off the canvas, so we saw him do it at 140.
A fantasy battle that many fans never imagined might occur. Davis has stated his willingness to enter the ring against his former mentor, Floyd Mayweather. The Tank versus money concept. Tank was considered Mayweather's protege, handpicked to be the next boxing superstar under Floyd's tutelage. But their relationship has had its ups and downs, with Tank eventually splitting from Mayweather Promotions to take full control of his career. The prospect of them facing off in the ring adds another chapter to their complicated history. Mayweather is surreal, a student challenging his master, a young lion trying to overthrow the king who once ruled the sport for years. What's so fascinating about this fight is the clash between generations and styles. Floyd precision counterpunching and making opponents pay were the cornerstones of the undefeated defensive genius's legacy. On the other hand, Miss Tank is a strong, aggressive fighter with explosive knockout power. The question is, will Floyd's experience and ring IQ be enough to neutralize Tank's power? Or will the younger, more determined fighter finally force the legend into a real war? Many fans think that, since Floyd is retired and has only competed in exhibitions, this fight would be more of a spectacle than a competition. But the plot of a former student attempting to outdo his master would be enough to make this one of the most talked about bouts in boxing history. Whether it takes place in real life or in an exhibition, the prospect of Tank versus Mayweather is enough to get the entire boxing world buzzing.
YouTube breaking news: Gervonta Davis is now calling out Floyd Money Mayweather for an absolute dream fight. A real fight, not an expedition. Gervonta wants to take out the master. Student versus master. Gervonta versus Money and Floyd Mayweather. What do y'all think about this fight? And if it happens, who you got? Do you got Gervonta the student, or do you got Floyd Mayweather the teacher? What's up? I hope this fight happens, because I will watch this shit. And I will watch both records. Both people are undefeated. This will go down in history. What do y'all think? Throw a thumbs up, and if you know what, you know what's next. Subscribe.
Tank Floyd Mayweather has come under fire from Davis, who has criticized both his demeanor and the way other fighters treat him. Fighters that approach Mayweather to get affirmation or approval only to later assert that they are the best are not respected by Davis. He feels that rather than focusing on their own achievements, too many boxers attempt to align themselves with Mayweather's name. What irritates Tank Mayweather's ego and incessant self-promotion are even worse. Floyd constantly makes things about himself, he said, adding, "I'm this, I'm this." This suggests that Mayweather always finds a way to return the topic to his legacy, even when it isn't about him. According to Davis, Floyd is more interested in reminding people of his own glory than he is in genuinely assisting the next generation.
First of all, Floyd don't never want to see no one like a fighter do better than them. Why the say Terrence Crawford should fight Benavidez? That don't make no fucking sense. He don't never want to see nobody be better than him. I'm telling you.
Who's next in line? Just so he's next in line.
Is there like a
The last question, guys.
is there like a love-hate for Floyd though? Like
Yeah,
fighter?
yeah, I love the fighter. Like, I ain't gonna lie, if he was like chill, like he'll be the smoothest. But he's not. You know what I mean? He's a great fighter. And my bad. And
you're good, man.
And he because I don't want to say like he's just a scumbag, but it's like he's a great fighter, and sometimes he can be good, but it's like it's always I'm this.
This call-out is significant because Davis was once Mayweather's protege. Floyd helped build Tank's career and positioned him as boxing's next superstar. However, their relationship soured, and Davis eventually left Mayweather Promotions to take control of his career. This latest criticism shows that the tension between them hasn't gone away. By speaking out, Davis is making it clear that he's done living in Floyd's shadow and wants to be recognized for his own skills, accomplishments, and legacy, rather than constantly being compared to his former mentor. Whether this will result in a fight is still to be determined, but one thing is for sure: Tank no longer views Mayweather as someone he needs to impress, but rather as someone who is holding on to the past while boxing moves forward. In a recent clip, Floyd Mayweather was seen correcting a reporter who called him one of the greatest of all time. Instead of accepting the compliment, Floyd seemed irritated and insisted that he was not just one of the greatest, but the greatest of all time. The situation became even more awkward when the reporter asked Gervonta Davis how he felt about fighting someone who was regarded as one of the greatest in history. Instead of letting Davis respond, Mayweather cut in and directed the conversation toward himself, demanding that the reporter acknowledge his undisputed record victories and accomplishments. He then put pressure on the reporter to list his accomplishments, making it clear that he wanted verbal confirmation of his status as the best. This instance demonstrates why Tank has distanced himself in order to create his own legacy, without continuously being overshadowed by his former mentor, as Davis claimed. That Floyd is always focused on himself. Even when the attention is on other fighters, Mayweather manages to draw it back to his own career.
You're backed by arguably one of the greatest of all time, right?
What are we rating ourselves on? What are we rating on?
Okay.
Well, we're going to know in the least amount of fights. You know, I didn't have to have 70 fights or 150 fights, 300 fights. Did I not beat the most world champions?
Yes, you did.
Okay. And in the least amount of fights?
Yes, you did.
Who got the highest gate?
Floyd Mayweather.
Who made the most money?
You did.
Who was the most accurate fighter of all time?
You were.
So it's basically saying that...
The greatest of all time.
Okay.
All right.
Floyd Mayweather is renowned for his self-assurance, but occasionally that self-assurance degenerates into open conflict, not only with other fighters but, in one case, with members of the media. A heated argument between Mayweather and a news anchor turned a routine interview into a money-related personal spat. Floyd changed the subject to riches instead of immediately responding to a question the anchor asked Mayweather during the interview, dismissing the anchor's credibility by claiming that his position doesn't pay as much as mine does. The remark was an obvious attempt to disparage the reporter by suggesting that his wealth and success made him superior. Moments like these demonstrate why some people find Floyd arrogant. Rather than having meaningful conversations, he frequently uses his wealth as a defense mechanism, turning even simple conversations into needless conflicts. Floyd's long-standing habit of using money as a way to assert dominance, not only over opponents in the ring, but also over those who challenge him outside of it, is undeniable. The exchange quickly became tense as the anchor attempted to refocus the conversation back to boxing, but Mayweather refused to back down.
Just a guy with a job. I have a job though. So who would you fight next?
And guess what? Your job don't pay like my job.
Well, it depends.
Your job don't pay like my job.
That brings me to another point. Why are you coming back?
I can make 20 million in 18 months because I want to. Because I want to come back and steal some more money. I'm in a whole new era, dominating
That's right.
fighters.
And he's a whole new fighter, Floyd.
A whole new fighter.
Oh yeah.
And when I beat him, what they gonna say? Oh well, we knew this was gonna happen. Floyd Mayweather was a bigger fighter, or he can outbox him, or this. It's always excuses.
Tank Davis was still under Mayweather's promotions when he was scheduled to fight Jose Pedraza for his first world title. However, tension began to rise when Tank felt Floyd was pressuring him into fights he wasn't ready for. Tank later explained that Mayweather wanted him to face even more elite opponents at that time. This was the first significant altercation between Tank and Floyd Mayweather. Despite his lack of experience, money was another problem that created a gap. Tank soon disclosed that, despite the fact that the Pedraza fight was a title fight that helped establish his career, Mayweather didn't even pay him that much. This financial issue was one of the first indications that Tank felt underappreciated under Mayweather's management. There were other issues besides money and the matchmaking. Venue. Mayweather wanted Tank to stay in Las Vegas so he could train under Floyd's watchful eye. But Tank didn't like being controlled in that way, and these early arguments set the stage for their eventual fallout. Floyd didn't want Tank to stay in his hometown of Baltimore because he thought it was full of too many distractions that could harm his boxing career.
I remember first hearing an issue between Floyd and Gervonta before Gervonta fought Pedraza. And the issue I heard was that Floyd didn't want Gervonta to stay in Baltimore because he felt there was too many distractions for him in Baltimore and he wanted to stay in Vegas. And the story I was told at that time was that Floyd gave Gervonta one of his penthouses or one of his apartments in the Palms Hotel, and he said, "This is your apartment. I'll furnish it for you." He got him a Jeep. At the time, Gervonta was not a world champion. He got him like a Jeep, a 4x4. You know, he basically said, "I'll make it comfortable for you. I don't want you to go to Baltimore. I want you to stay here. I don't think Baltimore is the place for you," you know? And what I was told was Gervonta sold all the furniture, sold the Jeep, and went back to Baltimore and bought a Benz. You know, with that's what I was told at the time. So
Tank Davis revealed his disappointment with some boxing figures, explaining how he had once held them in high regard, but later realized they weren't who they claimed to be. He said that once you get around someone, you start to look up to them so much, but once you get around them, they're not who they claim to be or what they portray themselves to be. This realization left him feeling disappointed and led him to decide to go his own way and do things on his own terms.
It just, once you get around someone, you be looking up to these people so bad, and like once you get around, they don't be who they say they is or who they portray to be. You be like, damn, it's damn near like it's a letdown. So you be more so hurt off, you know. So it's like I just go my own way, like I do my own thing and things like that. So that's more so that's what it was, and that's cool. It's just like you just don't vibe with like what they on, and that's, you know. I mean, I've been in a situation where though, like, you know, I was in a lose-lose situation, and I came out still on top.
With Floyd? We said, what was the lose-lose situation? What you mean?
Just a little situation that he put me in to, you know, make me lose. But he thought I was gonna lose. But
you talking about like a boxing match or?
Yeah, boxing match.
Who, if you don't mind? If you don't want to, it's fine.
Who? Joseph Pedraza, my first world title. I was 16-0. I was 16-0. 16-0. And I was 21 at the time. And I haven't fought in like 7 or 8 months.
Tank went on to explain how Floyd Mayweather put him in a lose-lose situation, putting him in a position where he was expected to lose. When asked what he meant, Davis explained that Mayweather had set him up to fight Jose Pedraza for his first world title because he didn't think he was ready and thought he was going to lose. When Mayweather's team finally returned with an opportunity, they pushed him into accepting the Pedraza fight, saying, "You got to fight this fighter, which is Jose Pedraza." Davis recalled that he had no choice but to accept the fight, despite being put in that difficult situation. Tank revealed that he was only 21 years old, 160, and hadn't fought in 7 to 8 months prior to facing Pedraza. Davis also mentioned that he was struggling financially, saying, "I probably was making like $10,000 a fight for 6 months."
Around that time, I wasn't making that much money. I probably was making like $10,000 a fight. So 6 months is crazy to not fight, you know. So when they came back and it was like, all right, you gotta fight. He was like, you gotta fight this fighter, which is Joseph Pedraza. If you don't fight him, you're not fighting. You sitting on a shelf. So I had to fight him. In the midst of all that happened, I got evicted. I had to sell my jewelry. So now, and remind you, I'm letting them boxers that you talking about, I'm putting them on game.